But first, I want to hand out a Modelo or a lot of Modelos to one particular fan base. The Auburn fans. I want you to have all the Modelos. You've suffered greatly. The Oklahoma game, the refs blew a call. There was a rule that they maybe they weren't aware of. I don't know. They just didn't enforce it. And it led to an Oklahoma touchdown, which may have cost you the game. Against Georgia, there's a Jackson Arnold fumble as he's going into the end zone to put Auburn up 16-0, pending an extra point that would have made it 17-0. Ari, the video sure looked to me like he got the ball over the plane before it got knocked out.
Yeah, I saw a lot of discussion about, well, it was jarred loose a little bit by somebody else, and then they jarred it more once it crossed the goal line or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm not a ref, so, maybe I didn't see something in the videos that I've seen weren't that clear, but it sure looked like a touchdown to me. So
Clay says, I've been a lifelong college football fan, but I don't know how I can keep watching after this. The ref screwing Auburn for 2 games now is disgusting. And then Techmatac says, I'm not an Auburn fan, but I've never seen a more obvious screw job than what just happened to them. Listen, I don't think they do this stuff on purpose, but the fact that it happened to Auburn, the team that the SEC had to admit they screwed up with before, is just too much.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. And that's why, Auburn folks, I want you to have all the Modelos that you can.
You should open that can so we can hear the noise.
Oh, yeah.
Open it.
I may have a Modelo tonight.
Yeah.
If the internet keeps acting up, it may be a lot of Modelos for me tonight while I'm working on the projected playoff. But Ari, okay, all ads aside, let's have a serious conversation about this Auburn thing. There's nothing they can do about it. The SEC can't change the result of the game. They can apologize again, but I don't think they will in this case, because they'll say, well, we reviewed it and that's what we found.
Yeah. I am on 2 separate sides of this, because one, it did look like a touchdown, and going up 17-0.
I don't think Georgia wins if that happens.
Yeah, I think that you could make the realistic case of what you just said. We will never know for sure, but I think that 17-0 changes the entire, tenor of the game. And the other thing that we have to, at least acknowledge, and whether that be because of the refs or because Georgia clamped down, like Auburn, I think, had like 25 yards of total.
They did nothing in the second half. Yeah.
Like ever since that moment, then you can attribute it to the moment, or you can attribute it to whatever you want.
And the defense essentially let Georgia go on about it felt like a 4-hour drive. I think it was actually only 7 or 8 minutes in game time.
Yeah, well, Auburn just never had the ball in the second half, so it just felt like Georgia was on one prolonged, never-ending drive. But, if you are a mentally tough team, or a team that's really, really good, or a team that you think perceived to be good enough to beat Georgia, which we thought we saw tonight, like, you can't let a second quarter call tank you from being able to get a first down for the rest of the game.
Right, you were still winning the game at that point.
Yeah, the majority of the game, or at least up to that point, they were dominating the game. It felt like, and it kind of reminded me a little bit, Andy, of the Fiesta Bowl in 2019 that we covered when that targeting call happened. Ohio State was dominating the game, and then the targeting call happened, and the entire tenor of the game switched. Like, I understand that referee calls do that, but Auburn had plenty of opportunity to win this game.
Well, the question now for Auburn is, what do you do? Because they're 0-3 in the SEC. They expected better out of this season. The rest of the schedule is hard. I mean, we're going to talk about how good Alabama is. We saw again how good Alabama is on Saturday by going up to Missouri. But Auburn's got to play Missouri. They got to play Vanderbilt. Like, it doesn't.
I mean, when you think about like fan bases that have been tortured by individual results and things that have happened in individual games, like Auburn's got to be number one the last.
And this team should be better than this. This is probably a potentially 9-10 win roster. This is the same discussion we'll have with Florida. Like, Florida has a really good roster.
Yeah.
And they're not going to have a good season.
It just almost feels like all that luck how much luck would you have to have used for the kick six? And then
it's just like boomeranging back on them.
Yeah, it's like you used 10 years of luck.
Yeah, this is the regression to the mean.
I don't know. I mean,
well, don't forget the miracle at Jordan-Hare that happened in the Georgia game that year too.
Yeah,
the Ricardo Lewis catch.
But at the same time, that that Isaiah Bond catch a few years ago.
Yeah, I think that probably did.
I don't know. We're trying to come up with the supernatural here. What I do know is that
and this one, Kirby did call a timeout and then gaslighted the ref into thinking he didn't call timeout. I was clapping. I didn't call timeout. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no, neither of us are excusing the odd play refereeing. No one's doing that.
Well, and the SEC took an unusual step with that crew in the Oklahoma game. They said they were going to discipline them. I don't know that the Big 12 actually told us, the crew that worked the Kansas-Missouri game, the Big 12 told us they were pulling them off their next assignment. I don't think the SEC told us what the specific discipline was for the crew that worked Auburn, Oklahoma.
You tar and feather them in public, nude.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. But I am curious to see if there's any even acknowledgement, because the Kirby thing you could probably acknowledge. Like, you were made to look dumb with the replay of that. Like the officials were made to look very bad.
Yeah, he was very obviously trying to call timeout. Yeah. But Auburn, for better or worse, I think they're a better team than they were last year. But this season is starting to remind me of last year, which is just a team that is physically capable of competing with anybody, but they just never, for whatever reason, can get it done.
Well, and Hugh Freeze has a $15 million buyout, was a huge amount of money, but compared to what we were talking about with James Franklin and with Mike Norvell, it's not. It's manageable for an SEC school. And I think that's probably, if this wasn't it, if they don't just make a run, I think it's probably going to be it.
The thing that I can't get out of my mind with this is how much welfare does Hugh Freeze earn back by beating Georgia, which I think is quite a bit.
Oh, it'd be a lot, yeah.
And I feel like he was semi-robbed of that. And like when you look at
he has a case for I got gypped out of that big time.
You know, like I didn't for a second in that game. Like there are times when you're watching Florida where you're just like, oh, here we go with Billy again. Like I didn't really get that when I was watching the Auburn game of like, oh, Hugh Freeze is blowing this, or the reason why Auburn is losing is because of Hugh Freeze. Now, the quarterback situation, I think you can make a case. Like there was some, a play at the end of the game where Eric Singleton got behind some defensive backs and the ball was overthrown. It seems like they're having a very hard time getting it to their two receivers who are both earning
Keith in the chat said it was a fumble, by the way. He says he was there.
Yeah.
Or he thought, well, Keith, I'm going to tell you, most of the internet thinks that it was a touchdown.
Like, listen, we weren't there. I don't know if you were there.
We were watching on TV. We probably had a better view than the people who were there.
I mean, we saw the replay. I hear like there are a lot of people who hold the same opinion as him. So maybe we're not seeing something, but we sat next to each other and watched it, and it looked like the ball was over the goal line while in his hands to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, bad break even if the ball did come out, like but again, mental toll that it takes having to live through something that traumatic, obviously would have been the same result.
Right. And Auburn was winning the game 10-0 at the time, dominating the game statistically, dominating Georgia's offense.
I think that Georgia had 20 yards of total offense for like 85% of the first half.
It doesn't excuse Auburn not being able to do anything in the second half, because Auburn failed on offense and on defense in the second half. It wasn't like one side of the ball didn't hold up its end. Both sides failed in the second half.
Yeah.
So I do think you can blame the call, and Hugh Freeze can certainly blame the calls. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to change anything. I think ultimately they'll probably make a move. I don't know when they'll make a move, but I think it's going to happen.